Thank you everyone for coming to today's Business Summit. This is our first annual business event. Councilwoman Diana Reyna cannot join us today, unfortunately. The borough president is making his way. He'll be arriving shortly. I just wanted to also acknowledge Michael Rochford, the Executive Director of St. Nicholas NPC. And before I turn it over to Stephen, I want to also thank the staff again for putting this great event. I want to acknowledge Ernie Spears, in case no one knows who Ernie is. Ernie is the Small Business Development Manager. Ernie works one-on-one with our entrepreneurs, our small business owners, to be able to get them on their feet, to get them through our mini MBA bootstrap camp, to get them going, and to finally help them open up their business. And then lastly, I just want to thank everyone, and I hope you can continue to participate in our workshops, and thank our panel speakers. Thank you for coming out today and sharing your information, your expertise with our 700 attendees today. Thank you. Now, I want to welcome again and introduce Stephen Salsberg from the Ecoventions, who's going to talk a little bit about why we're here today and what we hope to do next year. Stephen?
So thank you all for coming. Before I introduce our keynote today, I thought I'd cover a couple of the themes that have come up in the morning sessions. I see the borough president is here, which means he's one of the few locals who are not getting a photo op with our new Supreme Court Justice, Latina Justice. Let's give it a good hand for the New Yorker who's going to the Supreme Court. So I'll come back up to introduce the keynote. I'll let Jose introduce the borough president. But for a few moments, just let's talk about the dialogue that we began here today with 700 local businesses here in Brooklyn. You hear about a new economy. You hear about an emerging green economy. And you hear about transparency and accountability and a local exchange of ideas. And that's what we're looking to foster here in Brooklyn. When we talk about a green economy or any economic challenges on the local level, we need to really bring it down to what small businesses should be thinking about. So I'm going to throw out one concept just to keep in mind during a lunch that's supposed to be about how do we survive this recession. And the concept is one based on demographics. For 50 years, many of you have heard that baby boomers, because of their large size, baby boomers, I'm not singling you out, don't get upset. Because of their sheer size, baby boomers mattered. So whether you were Starbucks or the Beatles, you needed to tweak your product to the tastes and sensibilities of this large population. So in fact, persons born from 44 to 64 are 78.5 million people. And then they were followed by this generation X, considered lazy and all kinds of other bad words because they were smaller. So I'm now Mayor Bloomberg's chairman of the Council on the Environment in New York, and I'm pleased to work on environmental issues and the green markets and things that were begun by baby boomers 32 years ago. The green markets are self-sustaining, but frankly, sustainability and aggregation of resources and bringing economic activity to a local level, now is the time for that, even more so when baby boomers were fighting for it. So why am I telling you this? Because there's a new generation. Persons born from 85 to 05, if you only count them as a 20-year generation, they're the same size as the boomers, which means for 50 years we're going to be reading about how they affected the world. But a lot of demographers believe that that group of folks are Generation Y, are not just the millennials, but they're a 25-year generation. And if you do them for 25 years, they're still being born. Here in Brooklyn, we heard about 70 some odd kids being born over the weekend. And if you think about it, so this Generation Y is 100 million strong. That makes the baby boomers look small. Generation Y, 100 million strong. And what are they thinking about? If you poll them, seniors in high school, you ask them their top 3 priorities, it's not the economy, that polls under 30%. It's not getting a job, that polls under 26%. And it's certainly not the war in Iraq. what their priorities are. Top 3 things: nationwide polling, seniors in high school, the environment, the air I breathe. Social responsibility is in, sustainability is in, being responsible is in, embracing your own local living economy. Those are the buzzwords. And why did I take my phone into my hand? Because our new president, he figured out how to speak to these guys. The first thing Generation Y did was, and how do you speak to them? They speak on these things. So we had sessions today about social networking and media and aggregating resources, saving your money. That's because it's not digital. And so this is what's important today. So when you talk to an EDC, don't hear, and I know our president of the EDC knows this. He challenged EDC and created a green mapping organization because he said green is not just clean tech. Green can be a young lady here in Brooklyn who was one of the speakers today, Alive Structures, doing green jobs. Green roofs, and creating green jobs in an easy-to-create job sector. Green is a multitude of sectors here in Brooklyn that affect our lives and small businesses. So it's great that we're here. It's great that we're having this dialogue. Another thing that's out is VC. Venture capitalists, for years, they said our game plan is to give money to 20 companies with the complete expectation that 18 will fail. That's the game plan. That's the business plan. And you say, well, what do you mean? You're going to take equity and you're going to give me money. How will I sustain? And they say, are you stupid? What kind of a question is that? Take the money. And if you're the 2 that succeed, most VCs define success as exit. What about my plans, my mission statement, my employees, the future, sustaining my organization? Exits were in. They're no longer in. That money's not here. What I think the EDC wants to hear about, and local leaders, and our president here in Brooklyn, and great leaders like Jose who are bringing fundamental challenges to local business, they want to hear, how are we sustaining our business? How are we growing jobs here in Brooklyn? And how are we addressing Generation Y? So it's a pleasure to see you today. We'll look forward to the conversations this afternoon. It's a website, of course. It has a Facebook and a Twitter and a blog. And we're out there. And what we've started here in Brooklyn with 700 businesses, I believe will grow to thousands of businesses and hundreds of new jobs. So before I introduce the president of the EDC, I'll invite Jose back up to introduce our Brooklyn Borough president.